Hey everyone, I'm Ryan, you're watching 60 Cycle Hum, and in this video, I'm gonna ask a very important question. Why do I suck at guitar? I've been playing guitar for like 25 years now. I've been in all kinds of bands. I make my full living right now playing guitar, filming and recording myself playing guitar so that thousands and thousands of people can watch and hear me suck at guitar. So anyways, this is not like a prompt for the fans of the channel out there to jump into the comment section and be like, no, you don't suck. We like the way you play. I think you're really good. You're better than me. All those sentiments are fine. The reason for this video is more of like an exercise in personal self-reflection that I think we should all do. We should all look at ourselves and figure out why we're not as good as we could be, what's holding us back, what bad habits do we have, what good habits do we have, what has led to us being able to have the abilities that we already have, and how can we do those more? How can we expand on those good habits? So I've put together a little outline going through all the reasons why I think I suck at guitar, and for the fans out there, the people who like the way that I play, the bottom half of it is why I don't suck at guitar. I'll be going through positives about my playing, about my practicing habits and things like that. So let's start at the top. I'm just gonna try to read what I wrote down, even if it doesn't really flow like normal speech. And then I'm gonna try not to rant too much because this could be like a 6-hour long video if I just go for it. So, reason number one, they're not really in order, but the top reason here, the first reason on the outline, I don't care. That's a huge part of this. I'm not competitive and rarely embarrassed. Those are driving forces that I think lead to the really top level playing guitarists. They're competitive with each other. They see someone playing better than them and they want to match that. Or they get really, really embarrassed when they suck. I'm not afflicted with either of those conditions. I'm very, very rarely embarrassed. And I don't think I have a competitive bone in my body. I really don't. So let me read out the rest of what I have written here. I'm this way with everything. I don't care about sports because I'm not competitive. I'm just not. I've never wanted to be the best at anything and don't really care about being the worst. By way of doing things I enjoy, I'm rarely the worst at things I do, but I never have the anxiety that I might be the worst at the things that I do. One time I did get serious crippling imposter syndrome. While at the first TGU that I went to, the Tome and Gearhead University, they had this big party, and Dan and Mick from that pedal show and Jay Leonard J got on stage and just started jamming. And I'm sitting there with a few drinks in my belly, and I had a serious existential crisis. But for like the level of guitarist that I am and the level of guitarists that are in this scene, the other guitar YouTubers out there, I should be having imposter syndrome all day long, every single day. But I don't really feel that. Very, very rarely do I get a little tingle of that. I'm not a pro. I didn't fall into this by way of being a professional player with a notable history. I'm not a studio guitarist. I'm not in a professional touring band. Every band that I've been in has not left the county. We play dive bars. We make little, home done EPs and things like that. I don't have a desire to be a professional musician of studio or stage. I have the freedom in not needing to maintain a professional reputation. I love that freedom. I can suck all I want and no one actually cares. I don't have to worry about not getting recording gigs because I filmed some fuzz demo and fudged my parts, fudged some riff that I was trying to play in the middle of it. I don't have to worry. I'm never gonna be a professional musician. I don't want to be. There's the freedom in that. And when I realized that I didn't have to be good to make these videos, oh my gosh, the weight that lifted off my chest is beautiful. It's beautiful. Oh, look, third note here under not a pro. I think it's beautiful that there is a place in this world where a hobby level guitarist can make a living making content for people who want that sort of thing. Many of you are here because you relate to me and my outlook on guitar products, or have found a place in a community of fellow hobby guitarists. Or maybe you are a pro that likes a look outside the world of pro music from time to time. Fourth point here under Not a Pro. I consider my profession to be a content, marketing, and community building gig more than I consider it a musical gig. Most of my time is spent on the back end editing and managing the business side, and I sincerely love that aspect of the work. I came into this by way of being a media guy. I was doing commercial video work and graphic design and things like that. I went to art school. I learned how to edit video in school. I learned how to do graphics in school. I had no intention of becoming a person who makes his living playing guitar. So the kind of production side of this gig is really where I pride myself as a professional. The guitar playing side is me getting to have fun for a living. That's the reality of it. All right, now we're going to get into my list of bad habits. These are things where I really should focus on these if I want to get better and figure out ways to work on these issues. Number one, I tend to play by what feels good rather than what sounds good. Just noodle and noodle and noodle. I do bends because they feel good. I do little like fluttery things because they feel good. I walk the direction I do on the neck that way or that way or that way because it feels good. And I'm not playing with my ears, which is probably one of my number one problems as a musician. I'm playing with my hands instead of playing with my ears or playing with my mind. I should be playing with my mind and my ears more than I play with my hands. But it feels good to play guitar and it's fun. Not motivated to learn complete songs and parts. This is a terrible habit. I just like the act of playing. There's very, very few times in my life, in my 25 something years of playing, where I've actually sat down and learned all the parts of an entire song. I mean, that doesn't have anything to do with like when I write my own songs. Of course, I finish my own songs and I play the entire songs. Like, I think I learned how to play the entirety of Miserlou when I was like 15, 16, something like that. And then I forgot most of it. I really focus on just the interesting 60 seconds of a song that are compelling to me that I want to learn. And then I just don't go back to the rest of the song. I need to like focus on the parts that are less interesting to me and pick up knowledge and skills from playing the parts that aren't just the frosting. I'm just eating the frosting off the cake, aren't I? I need to eat the rest of the cake. I'm easily frustrated by the terminology of music theory and give up on it quickly. I've been taking small stabs at theory here and there to pick up new concepts, and I feel like I'm making progress, but I have a long way to go. Theory is one of those things where I think in my case, I have to do the math myself. And that's the way I learned when I was like in high school and things like that. Like, no one could explain to me the way a math problem would work. I had to sit there and figure it out myself. And then when it clicked, all of a sudden I got it. So every time I watch a video about music theory or try to read about music theory, it just right over my head. I'm the one who has to sit down and do the work to decipher this stuff. And I've been doing things to go in that direction. I'll show kind of what I do later on when we get into the why I don't suck at guitar parts here. But yeah, I think I just have my own unique way of learning these sorts of things, like technical knowledge and whatnot. I have to do it myself to crack the code. Like, you couldn't explain to me how to, solve a Rubik's Cube. But if I do it myself, then I'll have it figured out, I never play to a click. I've got terrible rhythm discipline, too much emphasis on lead guitar, but I very much am playing to drums though. Whew, man. I made a damn fool of myself when we recorded the Dinosaur Ghost album. The other guitarist in my band, he recorded it all. We went to a studio. I paid for the time for us to be in a studio, but he did all the work, recording it all and, like editing all the files and tracks and stuff like that. And he did an awesome job. But when it was time for me to lay down my parts over like the scratch take that we did, he had the click on and I could not. I couldn't. There's something about that loud, abrasive, beep style click that completely distracts me because I don't practice with it. And I really should practice to a click to get used to that. It's not even about like feeling robotic over a hard mathematical click. It's just distracting to me. It doesn't feel musical to me. I want to hear the drums. I want to hear the bass and the snare and the hi-hat, But that's a bad habit. And I should really spend some real time playing the click. Now, I've been getting into bass guitar, and I find a lot more value in practicing to click with bass guitar. But for some reason, with regular guitar, I have so much trouble making it work. Last point under bad habits, I lean on what comes natural and familiar instead of pushing my own boundaries. I mean, that sums up so much of this. Like I play guitar because it's fun. I play guitar because it feels good, because I enjoy it, because it's a form of entertainment for me. And I'm the person just sitting down and watching The Office for the 20th time in a row, beginning to end, the entire season, just binging it because I don't feel like stepping outside of my comfort zone and enjoying something else. I really need to step outside my comfort zone and play things that don't feel natural to me. Like scale runs that feel foreign to me and things like that. The different techniques that I'm not used to, instead of just playing for my own comfort and my own entertainment. Last section under why I suck at guitar: video/environment challenges. Self-filming takes a lot of time and energy and a lot of retakes. You have no idea. I often play much safer than I normally would for the sake of getting a usable take. Most of the really bad playing can get weeded out in editing, but generally I leave in as much average playing as I feel is needed to represent the product or video concept. Unless you've done this sort of thing, unless you've filmed yourself and recorded yourself talking as a regular thing, you don't understand what goes into the video side of this. Sometimes I'll sit here for like 2 hours trying to get the intro right. Like this video itself, I probably spent about 30 minutes just trying to get the first minute and a half right. And once I get through there, usually I can just flow. But when you get into that rhythm of like, that sucked, I need to do it over and over and over and over again, trying to get it just right, you start to play things really safe. You're not going to go out on a limb and try to play something really wild that's in your back pocket that you've never shown before. And it's kind of like a catch-22, because if I actually did those things, if I actually like took a chance and played some wild part, then it would reinforce my ability to play that part later and my ability to remember that to play that part later, instead of relying on, my dozen safety riffs that I play over and over and over again. But time is limited. Time is limited. And this has to be a living for me. So I have to have this sort of element built in where I'm not risking losing a good take, or I'm not risking going down a rabbit trail and losing my mental bookmark of where I am in the video because I was trying to chase some riff that I couldn't play just right. And sometimes I do that. Like on the editing side, sometimes I'll try to nail a riff for like 20 minutes before I get it right. You guys don't see that part, but I see that part. And everyone else in this business knows exactly what I'm talking about. I think I just covered a couple other points underneath that section. This is a business that requires constant content creation to work, so there isn't time to craft a fuzz shootout with perfect or inspiring playing. Bills need to get paid, so there's only so much time I can spend on a single video. Working from home in the garage with the young kids around is a constant challenge in more than a few ways. Behind this wall is the living room. And my kids are being quiet right now, but I've got a 7-year-old and a 3-year-old, almost 8 and 4. They fight sometimes. Sometimes they play loud. Sometimes they're having little meltdowns and stuff like that. They're kids. That's the normal stuff. But when I'm recording and that starts happening, that interrupts my flow. I have to go do stuff. I have to go take care of my kids and whatnot. And that makes the time feel so much more critical. Someday there'll be boring teenagers that just sit around moping and scrolling their phones and stuff like that. And I won't have to worry about that. But it has been a challenge for the past 8 years. You know, dealing with a home environment. I love working from home. I absolutely love it. I wouldn't trade it for anything. But it is a challenge that I run into pretty consistently. All right, now, why I don't suck at guitar. And this isn't going to be me being defensive or anything like that, because that's not who I am. These are things that I recognize in myself as strengths. And I think like this sort of flow, I think we should all do this. Write your own out in the comments why you think you suck at guitar and why you think you don't suck at guitar. Just the self-reflection side of it, I think there's something valuable there. So the first point, I love it. I love playing guitar. I sincerely love playing guitar and I do it often. Even before having this be my business, having it be my living, I played guitar every day because I enjoyed it. It was my fun. It is what I do for fun. It's like the same as someone playing video games every day or watching a TV show or movies every day or going and, you know, whatever you do, going and whatever you do for fun every day. Your distraction, your getaway from the world, your reset. That is guitar for me. I just love doing it. And I think that's an important part of being competent at guitar, at becoming good at guitar, is loving it. People who don't love it, they're not going to play. They're not going to get better. Maybe they have an overbearing parent over their shoulder for some reason, driving them to, you know, achieve something in music, but I hope not. I hope everyone who plays guitar does it because they love it. I feel very natural playing guitar. I can play quickly when I want and finger difficult chords / positions. I just don't often find them needed for what I play. I don't struggle at playing the things I enjoy playing. Guitar's not a struggle for me. I feel natural at it. My fingers do the thing. I mean, I have the same struggles anyone does when they start out, but at this point, like, if I spent the time, I really truly believe I could practice any guitar part and learn it. I don't feel physically limited at playing guitar. Next section under why I don't suck at guitar. Early interest in self-education. I spent a lot of time learning scales when I started. All I wanted to play was single note run leads, and so that's what I spent the vast majority of my time on. Very early, I started charting out and exploring scales and other concepts with pen on paper. This was a very powerful way to memorize a lot of shapes despite not having the music theory knowledge to back it up. I still do this. And honestly, I credit this exercise for being like the top reason why I can play the way that I play. And I've actually got examples right now of what I do. I have this file on my computer that I put together where it's just blank fretboards, just blank. And I'll sit down if I'm playing something interesting and I want to explore it, and I want to dissect it and figure out why it works. I chart it out and then explore how it spreads out across the fretboard, what my options are. And then I pull up this, another thing that I made. I've got a couple of these. This is one that is focused on the major scale. It's got all the intervals there marked across the fretboard and then 2 blank ones. So if I play some chord shape that I like or some little lead that I like, I can write it down and I can dissect why it works, what makes it work, what makes it not work, where can I go from there. I'll come up with some sort of shape there and then see how it spreads down across the fretboard or back up the fretboard and things like that. And the act of physically exploring this, pen on paper, puts ideas in my head. It teaches me in a much more powerful way than just staring at this already made out. Like, I can find this already made out all over the internet. I've got multiple apps that have scale charts and things like that. But just sitting there and looking at them, that's not how I learn. I have to build it to learn. I have to do the work myself to learn. And honestly, it reminds me of being in graphic design school. I went to college for graphic design. I did the full 4 years, got a bachelor degree. So that's not a brag. Other graphic designers will know that's just me throwing money to the wind for at least 2 years. But something very important that the professors just beat into our heads over and over again, despite it being the age of computers. In the early 2000s when I was in college, we were doing everything on computers, but they beat into our heads. Start with paper. Start with pen or pencil, charcoal, marker, whatever you want on paper. Because there's something very powerful about that immediate brain to hand to paper connection. We're making corrections and adjustments, and you're not just outputting, you're getting stuff back in and then reinterpreting and then immediately putting it back. And the back and forth there is the important part in my mind. That is where the real learning happens for me. I can't just sit and stare at this and go like, yes, now I understand the entire fretboard. I have to build it. I have to sit there and sketch it out and physically connect the dots and mentally connect the dots for me to be able to memorize it and for it to be a meaningful new skill to me. All right, I could rant about this forever. But I'll have screen grabs. I'll have these files down in the description, like an Imager link or something like that. If you guys want to grab those, print them out, or just like use a ruler and a pen and draw your own on a piece of paper. Do it. Try it. If you've never done it, pen on paper, exploring scales and chords and intervals and things like that, do it. Just do it. Early access to a looper. I got a Zoom 2100 in my first year of playing electric, and the looper function changed everything for me. I could lay down 90 seconds of backing track and then noodle over it endlessly. And I did. I would just play and play and play over the same awful rhythm track I'd laid down. I don't know how my family or my neighbors survived it. I wouldn't put up with that sort of nonsense. There was a lot of noise for a lot of years coming from my bedroom. And loud too. I had one of those bandits, one of the PV bandits. And I was not quiet. I was having a good time up in my room, just noodling and noodling and noodling. But yeah, a looper pedals are an amazing tool for learning how to play guitar, especially leads. You lay down a rhythm track and then you just go hog wild. Explore the entire fretboard, figure out what works, what doesn't work. Like just the muscle memory that you build, going across the entire fretboard, doing little things over and over and over again. Like that is a good way to practice, in my opinion. And I think it's a core element of what has made me the guitarist I am today, for better or worse. Ingested crappy 90s internet tabs like they were candy. Yeah, I wouldn't learn full songs, but I got very good at figuring out when a tab was accurate or not. Also picked up a few riffs along the way. Yeah, early like Harmony Central, Olga, the online guitar archive, things like that. There were just these huge libraries of, public made tabs, crowdsourced tabs, and a lot of it was very, very sketchy and very incorrect. And learning how to identify what was and wasn't correct became a big skill for me. There's still like crowdsourced tabs out there, and a lot of them are so much better now. So much better than they used to be. They used to be just dismal. But I still have that skill no, that's not quite right. Or I just don't want to play it that way. I want to find my own way to play that part sort of thing. And being able to critically look at those tabs, read them, and figure out the way that the person who wrote them intended them to be played, and then figuring out why that doesn't jive with me. That's part of who I am as a guitarist. decent ear for melody. Surf guitar loves a melody, and that is what my ear is trained for. It would probably be a good idea to brush up on harmonies as a concept, though. Yeah, guilty as charged. I mean, I wrote this and I feel, convicted right now. I love a melody. That's what I chase. I'm always chasing a vocal melody, or like, all the classic surf songs have very, very strong melodies, and that is what I love to play. That's just what I like to do. And I should probably spend some more time exploring things other than melodies, but I'm good at it. I'm good at picking out melodies. I'm good at picking out the notes that the vocalist is hitting, or the notes that are happening in a song, and replicating them. And I think that's a strength that I have. Focus on improvisation. A big part of my fun with guitar is building the ability to jump in and jam along with as much music as possible. Pursuing that as a discipline has helped me develop a decent ear for scales and keys. I don't know all the theory, but my instincts are fairly good. Instincts. I feel like I have really good instincts. Not like exceptionally inspiring instincts, but I mean, I play at church. I play with my church's worship band, and I never memorize official parts to the song. My last worship pastor, when the new worship pastor was coming in, he told him, like, hey, Ryan he's a really great player. Ryan's a great player. He's not going to play any of the parts that are on the recording, but everything he plays is going to work out. And honestly, I feel like that's a really fair critique of me. Like, I'm not going to play the parts as recorded, but I'm going to look at the song, I'm going to see the key, I'm going to look at the chords, I'm going to listen to what the rest of the band is playing, and I'm going to find parts that work, because I've built so much of my guitar skill around improvisation, around that looper stuff, around, I like just playing, I think the dream for me is to just pick up a guitar and just play. Just play it. I know that's a simple thing to say. I just want to be able to play it. I think the fantasy in my head is the same as, say, the way I think about like surfing or even skateboarding. I used to skateboard when I would heel faster when I was a kid, But the idea in my head of, skating down the street and just navigating obstacles, jumping up a curb, and then, going down a rail or something like that. That's the fantasy. Just freestyling through an environment. And that's how I like to play guitar. Same with surfing. Like, you catch a wave, and it's a wave. It's alive. It's moving. You're adjusting and making, changes based on what's happening down the wave to accommodate what's happening on the wave. You're trying to see what's about to happen. And that's the way I enjoy playing guitar. I don't like it to be this clinical, highly practiced, I know exactly where this is going and where I want it to end. I just like jamming, You know what I mean? It's a bad habit, but it's also, a skill that I've developed, is just being able to improvise my way through whatever I want to do. Good habits. This is the last section on my little outline here. Play, play, play every day. There is an artist who was a huge influence on young Ryan as an illustrator, as an artist, and his name was Captain Mark Kistler, and he had a TV show that would play on PBS. You might have seen pictures of this guy. I'll put one up right now. He had this like jumpsuit with crayons and markers going down his sleeves like, they were bullets or something like that. And he had this amazing kids show teaching really, really good fundamentals of drawing, like depth and perspective and shadow. And he would spend a lot of time just being outside of the box and drawing really wacky, fun, silly things that kids would love. And his main thing that he would say every episode is draw, draw, draw every day. And if you love doing something, that's not hard to do. I love making art. I make art every day. I draw every day. I love playing guitar. I play guitar every day. And because I do these things every day, they've ended up becoming part of my livelihood and part of what I do to make a living. And I love that part of my life. But doing it every day is part of what has made me the guitarist that I am, and part of making me a competent guitarist, a guitarist that, in my opinion, doesn't suck, you know? Self-reflective enough to know what and who I am, I think. Maybe I'm wrong. You guys tell me if I'm wrong. Am I self-reflective enough to know exactly what I am? Humility. I might be the most humble person playing guitar these days. Always ready to learn what I don't know, even if I kind of know it won't stick. I'm always ready to try to pick up new knowledge. Whenever I see someone explaining something or playing in a way that I don't play, I sit there and I watch them, and I don't go like, oh, I don't need to learn that. I sit there and I watch them, and I try to learn it. I try to listen to them. I try to pay attention, but like I said earlier, unless I do it, I don't really pick up a lot. So I have to be able to sit there and do it and work through it myself. But I know that I'm not the best. I know that I've got a lot to work on. There's no reason for me to be cocky and think that I've got everything figured out. I put this on here as a joke. I'd say, I work too hard. That could have been under bad habits, I suppose. Classic, job interview question there. Yeah, I work too hard. That's the problem. Another good habit, keep it fun. I don't want guitar to be work. The video stuff is the work. The guitar is how I play. And I've said that a bunch of times in this video. I have a lot of fun playing guitar. It is my entertainment. It is something I love to do. It is personally enriching to me to play guitar. And if I start doing things with guitar that aren't fun, then I stop. And that is a bad habit, but it's also a good habit because it keeps me invested. It keeps me interested. It keeps me engaged with the instrument. But I should spend more time playing things that I don't necessarily think are fun. And then the last point, I already said this earlier, I think. When I write a song, I practice it hard and learn my parts. It's everyone else's songs I don't care about. Yeah, when I write a song, it's a complete song. I play the entire thing. I think about all the parts, like here's the verse, here's the chorus, here's the bridge, here's some interesting intros and outros and stuff. Like here's some creative things I want to do with it. Like I can write songs when I'm in the mood to do it. I'm not a very, I'm not a very prolific songwriter. I kind of have to squeeze them out of myself. I have to force a song out with some serious straining. I'll say that. But when I write a song, I put in the work. And I put in the work to learn the song so that I can play the song well during live performances and things like that. So, I don't know. That's a bare minimum good habit that I have. That's like so bottom of the barrel. Like, of course, yeah. Why did I even put that on there? So what do you guys think? Is there anything I missed? Is there anything you want to say about why I suck at guitar? I really don't enjoy compliments. This is not a video of me fishing for compliments. I'll say that. I sincerely enjoy rude and nasty comments. That's why I ask for them. I relate to them. I've never gotten a rude or nasty comment that is harsher than the things I think about myself. And I think that's part of the reason why I get a big kick out of them. But compliments, all of you that have complimented me in the premiere chat or in the comment section during this video, just know that you've made me feel somewhat awkward because I don't know what to do with compliments, and I'm not very good at accepting them. But thank you for the compliments. I'll try to self-reflect on those as well, and I do. I do take it to heart when people say things that they like about my playing and what I do on this channel and other things and whatnot. But yeah, that part always does make me feel a little bit awkward and embarrassed. Is that weird? Is that something sick about me? Is that I get excited by mean comments and I get awkward and embarrassed by compliments? I think that's the 90s kid living inside of me. We're all raised by Janine Garofalo in the 90s, and we're just raised to be sarcastic and kind of brutal with each other as a way of showing affection and love. Other 90s teens know what I'm talking about, right? You understand. So anyways, thanks for watching this very long rant that didn't have any guitar stuff in it. I hope that, maybe this can be a good tool for other people to sit and think about self-reflecting on where they are as a guitarist, a musician, an artist, whatever you're working on, and just reflecting on why you're not as good as you could be and how you could be better and what things you do that have led to you being, the skilled person that you already are. I think there's some importance to this. So anyways, thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, dislike, leave me rude and nasty comments. Support us on Patreon. Buy a shirt if you're naked and stay grounded. Bye, everybody.